When I am down and oh my soul so weary, when troubles
we do own the song.
come and my heart burdened be, then I am still and wait here in the silence until you come and sit a while with me. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can
You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be. There is no light without its splendor. Each restless heart beats in harmony. But when you come and I am filled in wonder, in you my eyes can glimpse eternity.
You raise me up so I can soar on clouds. You raise me up to run on open plains. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be.
You raise me up to more than I can be.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. As you can, once I remove my stream thing here. Yes. That is done by Inky Notebook and Skyvault. In case you weren't paying attention to the Discord chat, we released that 3 days before Christmas. In the meantime, hello everyone. So, welcome to How Ponies Relate to Humans and Therefore Us, or as it has been affectionately nicknamed by a ton of people. I didn't make up this nickname, someone just said that's what it was. Welcome to Brony Church. Okay, someone remind me that it is physiologically impossible to breathe tea. As much as I would like to achieve that, you just can't do it. You can't do it. Oh god, that hurt. Anyway, welcome to Brony Church. Man, that ruined my whole intro and everything. Thanks, T! You ruined my intro. Still love you. Anyway. I am Fiaura. This is my OC Wandering Sunrise. I also have played Queen Quake for BabsCon for 4.5 years. I have been a scientist in the field of human sexuality and human communication for 10 years. I have to update all of these panels, and I'm only going to update as I see that it needs to be done. This panel is originally from... first time I did this was Ciderfest 2018. It was a long time ago. Diamond Doodle is the founding member of BabsCon who inspired all of these panels, so all of these are Doodle's fault, and I will explain about the FOE reference at the Fallout Equestria panel later this evening. I want to say afternoon, and it's more like early evening-ish. So, what is the very first thing that happens in the show? Anybody? Let's talk about it.
Some friends! Aww. Look on the bright side, Twilight. The princess arranged for you to stay in a library. Doesn't that make you happy?
Yes. Yes, it does. You know why? Because I'm right. I'll check on the preparations as fast as I can, then get to the library to find some proof of...
Ponyville have interesting things to talk about.
So this is what you expect to have happen.
Come on, Twilight, just try.
Whenever you talk to someone randomly, right?
Hello? Well, that was interesting, all right. My name is Twilight Sparkle.
This is what
Well,
probably
that is
actually
Twilight.
will
I'm glad you're
happen.
making your acquaintance. I'm Applejack. We here at Sweet Apple Acres sure do like making new friends. Friends? Actually, So, what can I do you for?
So, we have this notion that you sit next to someone on the subway or next to someone on an airplane. You don't do that right now, obviously, because we're all wearing masks and staying 6 feet apart, I hope. But when we go back to being normal, you have this notion that people are incredibly hard to talk to. How much easier is it to talk to someone once you know their name? Like, what's the first thing that Applejack does? Hello, I'm Applejack, and then starts shaking Twilight's hand and talking her ear off. The expectation when we talk to someone who's a stranger is that they will shy away and not talk to us. The reality is, if you're both in a situation where you have a presumed measure of safety, such as an airplane or on the bus, and you just start talking to someone, they'll talk back. I met a very interesting man on the way to, let's see, Crystal Mountain, the last year of Crystal Mountain. I met a very interesting man. African-American, his name's Rodney. He was going to see his daughter play soccer at Utah State. I learned a lot of things about soccer that I never know. Nor did I ever want to know. He learned things about My Little Pony. He showed up to the convention just to shake my hand. You say, Nordic says usually on the internet, my response is, I'm talking about real life. I'm talking about random stranger number 4. So, all of us have felt guilty at one point in our lives.
To punish myself for the evil I
Now I'm going to start hitting you with the heavy stuff.
Why would you do
Like,
that?
we're not going to pull punches
So I never
or
blame myself
beat around the
for
bush.
how much
We're going to
was
talk about
suffered
some of the
because
heavy
of me.
stuff.
But it seems
When
like
you
no
are in
one
a cycle of guilt,
Now I have only made you suffer
Turn this
more.
down to 50%. When you feel guilty about something,
That means you might just be the key to stopping
you're stuck
all this.
there.
Yeah, if it gets strong because you
Guilt
keep it
and
down,
depression
then you're
are
down.
reciprocal. What that means is,
Like you did.
I feel guilty, I think about what I've done, I don't see a way to fix it, I feel guilty. Over and over and over again. It's like being on a bicycle. You're just the gear on the bicycle. To pull someone out of a cycle of guilt requires other people, other personalities, besides you. And the moment
I do.
you trust someone else's opinion of the situation, everything changes. Yes, but we all know you're guilty of something, Final Sight. Feeling guilty is a natural occurrence. It is what a morally and ethically decent person will do. They will genuinely feel guilty about something they've done. Self-punishment is normal. What is not normal is staying inside of that cycle of guilt, self-punishment, and self-doubt. To get out of it requires other individuals. That's something that we are taught by this show very early on. They take an incredibly complicated concept like guilt and teach it to a 6-year-old. This show has bad points. This show does stupid things. This show does things that I don't agree with. But also, this show does incredibly intelligent things that require some genuine thought and lead through to figure out. Now, I've all made you feel guilty about something. You're all kind of mad at me because there's something that I made you think about. You can be mad at me. It's fine. Let's talk about being mad and how to deal with that. See, when I first saw this episode, I thought it was a bad episode. Then I realized what they were doing.
I thought I wanted ice cream. And, maybe we should check out the Crystal Empire because Twilight's castle is made out of crystals. So I totally had crystals on my mind.
Trixie is doing what Starlight asked,
If we want to make it to the Crystal Empire.
going through her day.
Okay, Starlight? Because you seem a little... what's the word?
That's an amazing word.
No, I am great.
This is what happens when you bottle up your anger.
No, give me... No, give it here. No, what's in this?
You could be mad at me. And the only thing I'm doing is sitting across the room eating crackers. And you're going to look at me and go, look at her eating crackers like she owns the place. When you are mad at someone, every single action they take, regardless if it makes sense or not, you will be upset at them for. How do you fix it? Just tell them you're mad. Tell them why. You don't necessarily have to resolve the situation. You just need to express your anger to them. This seems like a weird concept. But walking up to someone and going, hey bro, yeah, that thing you did, yeah, I'm pissed about it. Why'd you do it? And I kind of, want you to walk me through it. And they don't have to. But just me doing that relieves the anger from me. And then them reciprocating and explaining can rectify the situation, repair the bridge that was damaged, and your relationship move on without any questions. And with no more problems from that one incident. That's all it takes. But we let anger bottle up and build up, and explode. Communication. Can we fix this? Yes, all we have to do is communicate. Now, with anger also comes
And I'll say it!
permanent damaging of relationships, I should say. Which when you end a relationship, regardless of how it ended, and remember, all relationships in any form always have an end point. They usually lead to a very strange place.
Tell me that my friends are all lying to me and avoiding me because they don't like my parties and they don't want to be my friends anymore!
Your friends are all lying to you and avoiding you because they don't like your parties and they don't want to be your friends anymore!
Aha! I knew it! Oh no!
Hi.
Like my parties,
Welcome to the land of depression. Population, all of us at one point or another. I left that in just because, you know, Spike is completely oblivious to her actual emotional state. Being mad at someone can lead to the end of a relationship very easily, and immediately after the anger passes, you land into a place called depression. Doesn't matter who you are. You were upset at how the relationship ended. Your depression is not always, you know, crying depression. Your depression can be going out and shooting targets, and then when the gun needs a reload, you throw the gun because you're still upset. Or it can be you quietly sitting in a chair contemplating life and thinking some much more dark and horrible things. Depression, like guilt, requires others to pull you out. You have to have some other interaction besides what you're focused on, or you're not going to get anywhere. I did say we were going to dive right in. I asked for an hour and a half. They only gave me an hour. I hope you brought your emotional roller coaster strap because you're on one. So, the next slides don't have pictures. It's a discussion-based panel. If you want to derail us and talk for a bit, go ahead. But let's jump right in. So, everybody's been rejected at least once. Let's take a look.
Princess? Leave me be, Twilight Sparkle. Princess, I'm sorry it hasn't worked out how we wanted. But you have to believe me when I tell you that Nightmare Night is one of the most popular celebrations we have.
Yes, I can tell by all the adoring shrieks of the children as they run away.
Oh my.
Princess.
Tell by all the adoring shrieks of the children.
So this is what it's like, right? You get depressed and rejected, and what do? You assume everything is wrong when you face rejection. You don't look at the bigger picture. You don't look at why people are doing the things they're doing. You don't look at why others are taking the actions they're taking. How much easier was it to deal with once Twilight talked to her friends about what was going on? How much easier was it for Pinkie Pie to deal with it once she talked to her friends about what was going on? How often do we ignore someone's text message and feel bad about it later? How often do we panic when someone doesn't message us back within a few minutes? How often does this happen to you? Rejection isn't just rejection in the form of asking someone out on a date and they say no. Rejection can take many forms. Someone wants to be a part of a project, but you never asked. Someone sends you a text message and you never reply. Someone is genuinely interested in something, but you don't apologize when you insult that interest. Keep an open mind. Sometimes, you know, even I make mistakes, and I'm supposed to be a marriage counselor according to my credentials. Okay, so now we're going to go over 2 clips. One is how not to do a suicide intervention. The other is how to do one. See how we went from anger to depression to rejection to suicide? You getting the theme yet? Welcome to the dark, lonely road.
Breaking into a million pieces.
So, Starlight and Trixie had an argument.
Come one, come all.
This is a cry for help.
The pathetic and friendless Trixie's way to go, dum-dum. You really messed it up this time. Repentance tour.
How can you not recognize that that's a chronotic?
It's a working title! Behold, your fears come true. A pony-eating manticore.
We know she can't do this trick.
For tonight, the great and powerful Trixie will be performing the
We,
Moonshot
as the
Manticore
audience,
Outside.
know she will die
Now,
if she tries
save
this.
Your gasps for when I defy the beast's jaws of doom and
Without
appear
Starlight.
inside that black box. I was supposed to perform this trick with my great and powerful assistant, who was also my great and powerful friend.
Starlight should be doing everything in her power to stop her right now. Instead, she's up here being sad
My own decisions and my own friend.
and dealing with her emotional bullshit.
I shouldn't have tried to pick and choose your
This is not how you stop the traumatic event first. Deal with your crap later.
But
This is a bad intervention.
from what I've seen, she's the real thing. But it's not my place to judge. It's all up to you. Starlight?
I mean,
If you're out there and you still want to be friends, let's be great and powerful together. Please?
also, Trixie, this is a terrible idea and you shouldn't be doing it for a variety of reasons that I will get into.
Behold, the fate and powerful Trixie!
So, just to illustrate this for all of you, that's a lot of clothing damage in about 5 seconds. She fainted, and she was slurring her words. Yeah, that's pretty close to suffocation. And being eaten alive. And a variety of other things I could list. That would be medical conditions that are lethal to most creatures. Now, I believe I don't need to go. Yeah, don't need to. We're going to watch a suicide intervention done correctly.
To help you decide something?
By the way, I apologize for the Russian subtitles. I always keep the clips in the original form that I recorded them instead of trying to update them because this is what the panel's based on. And at the time, this was the only way I could get a recording of this was through Russian subtitles.
The answer is still no. Why would you want to be turned into stone?
Because I'm a relic of a bygone age. I belong in a museum. Safe, reserved, untouched. I don't belong in this time. It's up to you to make that right.
But there has to be a better way.
Twilight, please understand. I want to be remembered as the hero I was, not the disappointment I've become.
But you're not. Rokov, wait! Dragon said you want to turn into stone.
First, you stop them.
I'm
First phase of suicide intervention. Stop the violent action.
It's
Remind
sweet of you to
them.
get me to stay, Yona. But I'm
of a
afraid old
reason to
stories
stay.
like mine aren't worth anything in this day and age.
Fine! If Pony no want tell Yona story, then Yona tell Pony story.
Then explain
From class report. When
what
Yona
they
come to
mean
Pony's
to you.
school, Yona not fit in. Pony weighs strange.
Best
But
creature
Yona find
on
friends.
screen
Yona meet
right now. Not just best
Professor
yak,
Walker.
best creature.
Pony brave and strong as yak. Not afraid. Hero. When Yona grows up,
Then talk to them
Yona
about what
wants
makes
just
them a good
like
person
Professor Rocker.
and makes them better than what they're
Well,
acting.
Since you went to the trouble of writing something that nice, I suppose the least I could do is tell you the rest of the story.
And the last part of a lasting suicide intervention.
Now I wanna hear
Give them a
stories.
reason to continue.
Okay.
So we also have to remember that in this context, Twilight can't just turn people to stone. The way they turned people to stone last time was using the elements of harmony. So literally whatever Twilight's about to do is the copy of a cockatrice spell, which is probably bad and permanently lethal. What Yona just did was a proper suicide intervention from beginning to end. What would normally take 6 to 12 months of therapy, she did in 5 minutes. Actually, she did it in 2 minutes and 6 seconds, according to the clip length. Dang. Yona, best creature. Period. Did say we were going to talk about some pretty heavy stuff. A lot of you are Fluttershy's. You don't want to, like, go out in public and everything. And this is your normal reaction to
Wow.
people.
I've never heard you sing a solo like that before.
It was like a little slice of heaven.
With ice cream on top.
Side note, Pinkie Pie's an ass.
I cannot believe your spectacular voice isn't part of the Pony Tones Quartet.
Well,
Especially since you're having us perform for your Ponyville Pet Center fundraiser tomorrow night.
well, you see,
This simply must be rectified. You must share that stunning voice at the event.
Rarity and Pinkie Pie are both going about this incorrectly. You have a socially anxious person that you're talking about shoving into a situation where they have to stand on their own entirely. And that's gonna go over about as well as you think it will. Also, Pinkie Pie, you're a dick.
turn on you becoming a seething angry mob, and you'll be horribly humiliated.
Now, here's a question. How do you get from that nervous wreck we just saw to this?
What did you say?
No.
Oh, I'd hate to be you right now, because Iron Will is going to rain down a world of hurt unless Iron Will gets his money. Pronto!
As I recall, during your workshop you promised 100% satisfaction guaranteed or you pay nothing. Well, I'm not satisfied.
What do you mean you're not satisfied? Every pony has always been satisfied.
Well, I guess I'm the first then. But since I'm not satisfied, I refuse to pay. It's as simple as that.
Are you sure you're not just a little bit satisfied? Because maybe we could cut a deal.
How do you get to this point? How do you get here?
I'm sorry, but no means no.
No means no, huh? Nobody's ever said that to me before. Huh. I gotta remember that one. That's a good catchphrase for my next workshop.
So, the way you take a socially anxious person from an absolute nervous wreck into someone who can be what Fluttershy just did there to Ironhoof is very simple. Gradually. It can be as easy as taking someone to the convention and letting them hold your hand or cling to you or hide behind you everywhere you go. Slowly, through what is referred to as coexistence therapy. This is the idea that if you put someone into the situation where you don't want to be and let them acclimate themselves to that situation being normal, they will slowly get used to it. You don't put them 2 feet first. So if I ever wanted to overcome my shark phobia, I shouldn't jump 2 feet first into a shark cage surrounded by great whites. What I should probably do is start by being willing to go stand on the pier at the ocean and fish. Just saying. And then be assertive for them when you feel like they might enjoy something. Give them the little push and be the safety net. Don't give them a big push. Just help them along. And eventually, a socially anxious person will be able to do what Fluttershy just did. That's how you deal with that. That's how you overcome your social anxiety. You find people who will catch you when you fall and hide you when you need to be hidden, but otherwise are just there letting you do what you feel like you want to do and encouraging you. Okay, so this doesn't have a clip. Please stop trying to match up your friends. Seriously, shippers, knock it off! It's adorable and cute and fun to do it to fictional characters, but doing it to people in real life, just please stop. 9 out of 10 marriage counselings happen because 2 people were set up together by their friends. I have a master's in human communication and a bachelor's in human sexuality. That needs to be corrected. Let love happen, because just because you think 2 people would be good together doesn't mean they actually are. You don't know all their idiosyncrasies and you don't know how their minds work because you're not either one of those 2 people. Knock it off. Alright. In the interest of time, I'm going to skip this one. Okay, next little illustration here. Don't be either of these 2. Find the happy middle ground, please. You don't need to be, oh my god, I'm the gayest changeling to ever exist, but at the same time, you don't need to be, I'm not helping you because I like you, Baka. You can be in the middle. It's fine. You don't have to be either of these extremes. I also appreciate the fact that the show took these 2 extremes and put them on the opposite gender which they're normally associated with. I hate to say this, but this is actually a decent episode. Spike, I hate you. For a variety of reasons that I'll talk about later. White lies don't hurt anything, right? Also, as just a random posting here, how many people genuinely, like, were just having a conniption when Lesbian Rainbow Horse screamed, "I don't like pie"? Moon and I were high as a kite when this episode came out, together in his room, and we couldn't stop laughing for like an hour.
But I was wrong. So, to make up for it, I made this pie for you. Well, I guess I made it for me. To eat,
The little white lie here
I'm eating this pie for friendship.
is that you like pie.
Circular monstrosity is a pie?
You should avoid these because it can result in some pretty ridiculous situations.
Instead, I'm gonna eat this giant one for you now.
There's no need to lie to your kids. There's no need to lie to each other. There's no need to, do something for the sake of someone else. Do it because you both enjoy it, or sit on the sidelines. It's okay to sit on the sideline. Because it's the little things that grind against you that will end relationships. Okay. Speaking of kids, Parenting 101. Let's watch some chaos for just, a minute or two.
You know, you're right. That is funny.
So, children understand two basic emotions, joy and sadness. Either something is wrong or something is right. They don't have anything in between. They don't have anything in the middle. They understand those two basic emotions at the very base level. This is where all emotion stems from, is joy and sadness. When you move up to more complex emotions, you start getting anger and envy and jealousy and vanity. And on the opposite side of the spectrum, you start understanding basic concepts like affection, happiness, and exaltation. And then you move up to even more complicated concepts like holding a grudge, or pride and to some degree arrogance. And on the opposite side of the emotional spectrum, you start learning about things like love and fulfillment. It takes time to develop each of these emotions, and they all develop at different rates, and every person develops at a different emotion at a different time. When you're trying to relate to children, you need to bring your emotional understanding of the situation down to theirs, and then explain it to them in a way where they can understand on their emotional level what is either wrong or right about the situation. Many people get frustrated with kids. My alcoholic insert insult of your choice father did this because he didn't understand that, no, I'm not as emotionally developed as a full-grown adult. For a lot of the time, he tried to treat me like just a small adult, and that's not what you do. So you have to understand where your children are, or where the child you're dealing with is, versus where you are, and bring it down to their level so they can understand it. Human beings are not innately evil. Human beings do things for a reason, and you need to understand that reason. So, my wife is on the other side of the Atlantic. We might get a 10-minute phone call twice a week.
And you were in this place. Oh no. You sent me to Ponyville, which means it's time for me to send Starlight Glimmer away.
I have to accept that if I loiter over her and I worry about her constantly, that will be my entire day.
Isn't it?
Only
Every
you
piece
can
of
make
it.
that decision. It's a difficult one, but your heart knows what's right, even as it
But I
hurts.
also understand
Where are you gonna send her?
Too soon.
that if I stop
This is something I have to do.
and take the time to, just make sure to pick up where we left off. Act like nothing's happened, nothing's changed. And then work out anything that we've had to deal with together when we get the chance. Our relationship will keep growing and continue. But I have to let her live her life, and she has to let me live mine. And while the two are intertwined, you'll notice, like with the helix of a DNA strand, when you're looking at it on a 2D plane, it goes apart, and it comes together, and it goes apart, and it comes together, but it never breaks apart. It never completely separates. That's how you have to balance any relationship that is not immediately available to you at a whim. And how you should be balancing all your relationships. You go apart for a little bit, and you come back together. Which brings me to the part where I am going to bring you all down in one go. And that's the wrong clip. Every time. I'm going to relabel these now.
Guys, stop it.
Or maybe whoever did it is only pretending to be upset to throw us off. Me? But I didn't!
Come on, let it go.
I would never do anything like that.
Come on! Ocellus, you know you did it.
Why am I playing this clip?
I said stop fighting! That's not what the holidays are about. No matter what you call them, or how you celebrate.
Why am I playing
Do
this
you know
clip?
how
Anybody?
lucky you all are? With your stories about sharing and kindness and getting together with every creature that you care about?
But griffins do that too, don't they? Some holiday about a moon?
Blue Moon Festival. The one time of year when griffins are nice to each other. Well, as nice as we can be. Families get together to eat and then complain about the food and give each other presents they don't like and mostly just try not to yell at each other.
Well, at least you get to be with your family.
No, because I don't have a family.
That line.
What about
That's
Grandpa
important.
Gruff? That's just his name. He's not any Griff's actual grandpa. I felt like I never had a place in Griffinstone. Then I came here and, well, met all of you. So I don't want to go home for the break. And that's why I did it.
Griff!
Gallus is an unwanted, orphaned street urchin who was thrown to the school of friendship to get rid of him. Gallus is someone no one wanted. The holidays are just past. The U.S. Department of Education reports that roughly 1 in 3, 32.7% of college students don't go home for Christmas. When the show started 11 years ago, the original target demographic is now 19 to 21. Where did your friends spend New Year's? Where did your friends spend Heartswarming? And I say Heartswarming because that's a holiday from the show, and therefore I'm not offending anyone who happens to celebrate Hanukkah or Kwanzaa or or Ramadan or what have you. How many of you are just like Gallus? You have nowhere to go for Christmas. No one asks you. How hard is it to set an extra table and make the couch available? How hard is it? How hard is it to make sure you call everyone at least got one call for Christmas that you know? It takes 5 seconds. I'm tired of reading about people going home to families that cause fights. The U.S. Department of Health reports a 97% increase in emergency room rates the week of Christmas and New Year's. The FBI reports an official increase of 60% of incidents of domestic violence between Christmas and New Year's. I'm tired of hearing of people being alone. I'm tired of hearing people not having anywhere. Make the plan now. That if you host anyone for holidays, once we all have our vaccines in the next few months, once we all have our ways to get around and make sure that no one's going to die from a virus, if you host, make plans to have an extra place and ask your friends and make sure they all have somewhere to go. Period. Even if it's just you and a buddy hanging out on the couch playing Halo. I use that as a personal example. That's better than me sitting on the couch by myself playing Halo, and you know it. Now, normally, this panel would have divorced parents, but we're going to skip that. We're going to go straight to the final lesson. The last little piece. So you guys have time for questions because I'm running up against the clock now. I had to record that on my phone because it was the only way to get it at the time when I needed it. There's one final lesson the show teaches us. And it's a lesson about death and endings. Show's over. How many new people have you still introduced to this fandom? I can count 7. With a smile on my lips. I've gotten 7 people to sit down and watch this even though the show's over. That's just the ones I know. How many people still watch Star Trek The Next Generation or Star Trek Deep Space Nine? How many people still watch Firefly? How many people do you know who had an impact on your life who are dead? 73 for me. I have a little book I keep. Picture of their face, what they meant to me. It's a way of honoring and remembering them. And I keep that book very private. But I know there's 73 pages in it. And I know that won't be the last page. When someone dies, or is gone, or something is over, there's something very important to hold dear. You become the living legacy of that person, that TV show, that video game, whatever it may be. And so long as you tell stories of them, and the people who hear those stories tell stories of it, and those people tell stories, regardless of how the story mutates from word of mouth to word of mouth, is that person truly gone? No. So long as one person, no matter how far removed from the last person they ever spoke to they are, that this one individual happens to be, that person is never truly gone. It is our job to teach those who come after us about those who meant something important to us. That is what your job is when someone dies. So when I sit down with someone who just had their friend die, and I look them in the eye and I say, tell me about them. They are passing on from me to them a living legacy, a tool of remembrance that could not be passed on any other way. And that's important. So, that's what I leave you with. This is in an abbreviated version of this panel. You'll notice we skipped 2 whole clips, as well as skipped over 4 slides. Normally this panel is an hour and a half, but I will now give you guys a chance for questions. I have 9 minutes remaining, but before I take those questions, here you go. Here is my YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, my music and audio book production company, and my personal Discord. If you have a question you don't want to ask out loud, there's my email address. You are free to ask it in private. The research conducted here has a bibliography of 127 books. If you would like to see that, I will show it to you. That is paid for by people like you. My Patreon and my Stream Tip and my merch store pays for not only this research, but for me to be able to present it at conventions. It pays for me to be able to do these things. And I appreciate every one of you. So thank you. And in the meantime, I will take any questions you guys have. If you want to send a PM to me on Discord for a question, that's fine too. I'll get to it that way. I'm not like a lot of people who are online personalities who have their private messages restricted on Discord and Twitter. So long as you're a follower or we share a server, you can PM me. It's fine. Yes, Linux Pony. The whole remembering who passed away is the basis for Cinco de Morta. Or De Dios de Morta, excuse me. De Dios de Morta. I mixed up Cinco de Mayo and De Dios de Morta. Yeah, De Dios de Morta, the Day of the Dead, in Hispanic and Central American culture. Anything that happened that I'm grateful for? Yes, actually. I not only got an audiobook started, we're working on chapter 8 right now, but I have a full music production studio now, and I have animators helping me. I'm actually really thankful for that. And I'm thankful for the patience of my audience, because book 3 has taken a lot longer to write because of 2020's various efforts to derail any form of schedule that I would have liked to have had. But thankfully, we're working on it. Thank you, Mithril. I remember when Mithril was a good armor for D&D, and now I'm just like, I wish Mithril were as good as it was in 3.5. Anyway. That's everything, guys. Now, don't just hold the show near and dear to your heart. Share it with others. This panel is on my YouTube page if you wanted to share it with other people. Go grab it. Sit down and show them why they should be watching this show. The full version of this panel, the full hour and a half, almost 2 hour long presentation is on my YouTube channel. And it's an in-person version where I'm up on stage going over it. Thank you all for coming. And I will see you in a few hours with the Fallout Equestria panel tonight. Any other questions you can direct to me via private message or via my email address. And I will see all of you guys tonight. The Fallout Equestria panel will have several voice actors and musicians and sound engineers, even an animator, I think, on it tonight, with people who are working on various Fallout Equestria projects. In the meantime, thank you, and have a wonderful, wonderful time with the online convention. And please do go check out my store. I have the first and currently only legally published, which will be a story for this afternoon at the Fallout Equestria panel. Legally published Fallout Equestria book. Not just fan published, actual legalese, went to court, won the court case, legal. I am a legal parody Fallout Equestria book. So that's something to keep in mind. And I will see you for that story later tonight. I forget how I get this in here without... Oh, right, because it's actually... I am so dumb. Move out of the way. I'm going to put the book up. I'll put you back on now, because that's how that works. Yeah, a couple of my badges fell. Happens every time I take that book down. Which means I better have an important reason for taking it down, right? Anyway, I'll see you guys tonight. Good night, everyone. Let me go let them know that they can pull me. Panelists. Good night, and be good to each other.